Welcome back, everybody. This is Steve KM9G, and today on Coffee and Ham Radios, we had a special guest on, Wayne, one of the co-founders of Elecraft. And if you missed it, Wayne dropped a couple of new product hints that are going to be on the Elecraft website here pretty soon. So make sure you head over to the Coffee and Ham Radios YouTube channel. There is a link up above and a link in the description down below. And make sure you're subscribed and have that bell turned on so you don't miss out on new product updates like this one.
How do you make a radio that's really small that puts the focus on what people need, which is all modes, all bands, lots of power in your hand? And actually, in keeping with that philosophy, we've been trying to shrink the antennas as well. So you've probably seen our AX1 antenna. So nobody really knows about this yet, but our next antenna product is called the AX2. And the AX2 takes the AX1 concept a step further by making it as small as we possibly can, and still be highly efficient and still handle decent power level. So let me just show you a couple of things here. So this is the base unit for the AX2, and if you've seen an AX1. You know that AX1 is the base unit for the AX1 is about 6 inches long. So this is an AX2, and as you can see, the base unit is really tiny. And so let me just open the AX2 up. So it has a cover, comes off. It's just the whole thing's 3D printed. So if you look on the inside, we've got a very, very, very high Q toroid in there as the matching element. And the cool thing about the AX2 is you can actually take the toroid out and pull some turns off and put it on a different band. And there's a way to mark the base unit so that you can decide, you can show which band it is. So if you wanted to have different bands, you can put an AX2 on any band from 20 meters through 6 meters just by taking turns off the toroid.
So what you would do is you would sell multiple base units, right? You'd have one whip and maybe 3 base units for the bands that you typically work. Is that the design? Because you're in the field, you're not gonna start wrapping toroids.
I'm not unwinding a toroid in the field.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, you can use multiple base units. So, for example, let's say that you took some turns off the toroid and put a base unit on 15 meters. If you're using a KX2 or a KX3, you've got the automatic antenna tuner. Right, and the auto tuner will match a 15-meter whip on 17, 15, and 12. So you don't actually need base units for all the different bands. Just a couple of them will get most of the bands that you need.
And you said that is for 6 through 20. Is that what you said?
Yeah, right. So it comes as a 20-meter whip, and if you want to, you can pull turns off of it and put it on. If you're an experimenter, take turns off of it, put it on your VNA. And put it on whatever band you want. Cut the counterpoise length down. We supply it with a 20-meter counterpoise. But the truth is, when you've got the auto tuner built in, you can actually cover multiple bands with the same counterpoise wire. And the kind of operating I do is, I've been using the AX2 almost exclusively because what I do is a lot of trail running. So I'll go out to local trails and I'll just carry the KX2, and I just use it handheld with the AX2 Whip and
internal mic.
And yeah, right, the internal mic and the attached gear pedal. And another thing that nobody knows about yet is that we redesigned the gear pedal. So I don't know if you've seen the original KXPD2, which is transparent. So this is a new KXPD2, which we'll be phasing in. This one is black. It's totally 3D printed, and so it's a different aesthetic, but exactly the same thing functionally. And the resolution isn't good enough for me to show you this, but there's actually a that is hard to do. Oh, maybe you can see it. The hex wrench is actually attached to the keyer pedal. So the hex wrench that you need for adjusting the keyer spacing in the field is attached to the pedal. So we're having a blast designing 3D printed options for the radios.
So
me
when is
too.
that AX2 coming out?
So this one I showed you is actually the first one off the production line, and
Excellent.
yeah, we had an early focus group on AX2s. They're going to get first crack at them, but we hope to be stocked up on them for Pacificon.
Oh, nice. I will be there.
Was that something that
actually.
you designed, or like? I'm trying to look at that. It looks to me like that's a powdered iron toroid. It looks like a mix 6. If I could be wrong.
It is. It's a mix. It's a mix 6. Good eye. And it's actually an unusual version of a mix 6 toroid. It's a T51-6, not a T50-6. So it has an unusually tall aspect ratio, and the unloaded Q is something like 300. And I briefly put 50 watts into it with no problem. But it's targeted at smaller radios that are putting out 10, 15 watts. Yeah.